Cooler could fix the future of Dragon Ball, and I'll explain how. Now look, I get that's a bold statement, especially for just one character that's really had no importance whatsoever since his non-canon movies. And there are opinions some hold that go against the very idea of Cooler ever being canon, due to narrative reasons. But allow me to explain why his canonization could make perfect sense, serve an enormous purpose, and even solve a lot of people's issues with Frieza himself. And as always, if you disagree by the end of the video, feel free to comment down below and have a discussion with me or others. But with that being said, I'll now get into the video. Now first off, I will say that I'm aware of the possibility of him being introduced is very slim, but it's not impossible. Realistically, I doubt he's going to be in Super as of this moment, but I want to explain why it'd be a huge missed opportunity if not ever. Nothing we know about the Cooler from the movies contradicts him ever revealing himself in the official manga or anime. One of the biggest questions that people ask when discussing him ever being possibly canon is, where is he? I doubt it'd make a lot of sense if this guy has just been to himself after all Frieza's been through. You'd think there'd be at least a hint of him if he were to exist in canon, right? Well, let's remember the movie for a second, and why he became involved. The whole reason Cooler came back for revenge, hence the title name, was because he believed his family's pride was squandered. It wasn't because he really cared about Frieza, he only got involved once Frieza lost to Goku, and it ruined the plan he, Frieza, and maybe even King Cold had in mind. Where's your evidence for this? I hear you asking. Now see, unlike Super where the plan to destroy the Saiyans was basically an order given by Beerus, and something Frieza happily agreed to, in the movie, there's no such thing as Beerus, obviously because he didn't exist yet. It's almost implied that this is a plan created within Frieza's family. Hence what Cooler says at the start of the movie when witnessing Frieza seemingly ignore Goku escaping.
この地域を制圧するという計画が遅れているのも皆フリーザのおごり高ぶりのせいだ。
This shows that this was a family objective. Therefore, when Frieza loses to Goku, he's not thinking, oh, I have to get revenge for my brother. He's instead more worried about what it means for someone a part of his family to even be defeated by a Saiyan. He cares more about the pride of his bloodline and the fact that his brother couldn't carry out the plan they agreed upon. And really think about it. When Cooler arrives on Earth, of course his objective is to defeat Goku. But he shows very clearly it's to regain his family's pride. He's not cursing Goku for destroying his brother. He actually directs his attention to Gohan and says, all of the Saiyans are to be destroyed, and immediately tries taking him out first thing. Unlike Frieza, he doesn't intend to make the same mistake of even leaving one alive, showing he's more worried about the plan and finally carrying it out. If you need more proof, he even says about 16 minutes into the movie that he didn't come to avenge his brother, but to crucify the Saiyan who took our pride and smeared mud upon it. Now you could make the argument that a quote-unquote low-life Saiyan defeating Frieza in general, with the absence of this plan, is still enough to make Cooler have this reaction. Hence, there'd be no reason he hasn't shown up yet in the manga. But I'm going to make the argument that it was actually just because of the plan. If regaining his family's honor was as simple as settling the score between the Saiyan who defeated his brother, I believe he'd just have ordered the armored squadron to take care of Gohan and the others, while he focuses his attention on defeating Goku instead. But he only orders them to after Goku and Gohan manage to escape. His way of regaining his family's honor is seeing to the destruction of all remaining Saiyans himself, completing the objective he believed Frieza squandered by being arrogant all those years ago. He even says around 30 minutes into the movie to Goku, "So you were the kid from back then." Clearly, the moment of Goku escaping was a pivotal memory, something he wouldn't have allowed had he not believed that the quote-unquote zone was entrusted to Frieza. Now, why is all of this important? What does this have to do with Cooler being canonized? Because it gives a fine reason as to why he hasn't revealed himself in Super. Again, it wasn't really a family matter that the Saiyans were to be destroyed, but instead an order Beerus gave. Hence, there'd be no reason for Cooler to feel a sense of lost pride over his family being defeated by a race he had no intention of keeping tabs on. For all he probably knows, or cares to know, is that his soft and spoiled brother was defeated due to his own arrogance. So if he were to be revealed in the series, I'd argue his family connection can't really have a reason for him not showing up earlier. Because again, he doesn't actually care about them. Cool, now there's an okay reason to believe believe him being introduced so late in the game isn't total baloney. Now, why should he even be introduced at this point? What's the purpose he could serve that would actually make him important? Well, for one, we could have a Resurrection F arc that isn't total crap. One of the best parts of that arc is the fact that some of the lesser casts were actually given a bit of importance. They held off the invasion until Goku and Vegeta finally arrived to take care of the big bad. And while everyone along with Gohan was unprepared, they still did a good job until Frieza himself showed up. But as we know, Gohan has been training. Not only that, we have Broly on our side now. And even Piccolo's gotten a new form that allows him to stay up there. With so many big hitters alongside Goku and Vegeta, it only makes sense that Frieza's also not alone. And with Frieza's forces being smaller than they've ever been, it'd give the lesser cast some importance by allowing us to see Cooler's own forces be brought into the series. I feel as though Frieza will be a much later threat to worry about, as our characters are still nowhere near his level, being easily one-shotted by Frieza's new transformation, which makes you wonder the purpose of getting so much strength. Sure, it's one thing to get revenge on Goku and Vegeta, but due to the fact he allowed them to live, it's as if revenge wasn't the sole purpose of gaining the black form. It's almost as if this is an objective he sees as so easy to complete, it doesn't even matter to him whether it happens now or later. Now, while it's not stated in the manga, in the anime, Frieza had claimed to himself that he wanted to control the gods. If this is consistent even in the manga, it makes sense that he's biding his time and his real goal is so massive that his revenge on Goku and Vegeta are of lower priority, which is why this would be a perfect time for Cooler to be introduced. Frieza would obviously need allies and an army to accomplish this plan. Taking over districts in other universes would cause imbalance, thus angering the gods to oppose Frieza. And as we know, he's an egomaniacal tyrant, so it would be in his character to want to control everything, including the gods themselves. Having Cooler essentially be a blank slate within canon could serve to inform the cast of this impending plan Frieza has in mind. Thus, it would give everyone a reason to matter, even those we haven't seen in a while like Caulifla, Kale, Hit, Jiren, etc. Cooler doesn't have to be exactly the same as he was in the movie, nor does he have to be as weak. Like this Universe 2 What If story arc for Resurrection F, we could get a 2v2 situation, so that Goku and Vegeta both get their deserved shine. And we know Vegeta deserves it after the writers forced Goku to be the winner in the end in the Resurrection F movie. But the use I mostly have in mind for Cooler was what I mentioned before, an informant. He could serve as the middleman, totally aware of Frieza's plans, and just an antagonist in a later arc that'll be used as a stepping stone to prepare for the eventual finale. But I get what you're probably wondering by now. First, how would he do this? Secondly, what problem is Cooler solving by being this character? Why is he in particular important? Not only that, how does this fix the future of Dragon Ball like you claim? Firstly, he is simply the most convenient and reasonable choice. Future antagonists are going to have to be continuously justified as to why they're as strong as they are, to be able to fight and be considered a threat by Goku and Vegeta, not to mention everyone else. Having the potential of Frieza's bloodline, it makes sense Cooler would have this capability. Of course, by not having as much natural talent as Frieza, he won't be as strong. But an issue Dragon Ball is having is power scaling. As annoying as the topic is, the biggest problem I see we're having right now is how strong our main characters are becoming, and how Beerus has to keep moving the goalpost to make sense of the fact that the show doesn't want to end yet. In order to slow down this process, we have to put off the confrontation between Frieza and the cast. Frieza unlocked a power with such a huge gap between him and the Z-Fighters that it brought into question if he's capable of going toe-to-toe with Beerus, which is supposed to be the end goal, presumably. For the longevity of the series, it makes sense for the inevitable fight between Frieza and Goku to be way later. The only other reasonable threat that wouldn't just be throwaway and have no importance within the story besides one arc would be Cooler. With an army of his own, it would also help to set up the things that made the Moro arc interesting, such as even the likes of Yamcha getting his own shine. Just imagine an arc where he's the antagonist, and Goku and the others have to take care of him and his army, only for him to retreat after he's been defeated and eventually come back with Frieza in a 2v2 situation. Obviously, I'm shortening things, as the potential for this kind of arc would be limitless, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. He's the most justifiable in terms of being on par with Goku and the others. He has more than enough reason to exist in canon, and due to the fact that he has ties with Frieza, he has the potential to inform the cast alongside other characters to prepare for an eventual battle. He would be another good arc to help bide our time before Frieza. And if Tarble can exist, so can he. He's the perfect choice, one that would only serve to the benefit of the series and its longevity. And I have a good feeling that the final fight with Frieza will be his last. No more resurrections. And it only makes sense that if that's the case, we also tie up any loose ends so that there's no longer an excuse for him to return. But those are just my thoughts. And if you disagree, I'm always down to read yours in the comments below and have a conversation. Regardless if you agree or disagree, thank you for listening. And if you liked the video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting. And if you didn't like it, just do the opposite. It's alright. But anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next video.